To show that my strategy can work on any mode, I am going to do all of my videos on the hardest mode. It's a common misconception that you should get the sword or the staff first. However, that only benefits you for about 10 minutes. So, on this run, we are going to grab the shield. I will explain why later. You can take dawn, midday, or the dead of night as an option. Do not take the dead of night. I recommend midday as it allows you to level up the fastest in the long term. Do not attack the dark side's hands. Wait for him to punch the ground, run up his arm, and then attack his head. During this part, when the dark side shoots dark energy balls at you, jump up and deflect them with your lock-on focused on his head. This will give you the most tech points. Wash, rinse, repeat. Avoid his arms. Attack only his head. This will maximize the amount of tech points as well as experience points you get. During this time, you will gain approximately 3 levels if you do it correctly.
Will follow us through. Teach me, and I'll teach you.
You do not need to fight all of the characters unless you want to farm potions. I would recommend fighting against Waka and continue hitting his ball until you reach 1 level higher than you currently are. This should bring you to about level 5. Now, you could grind on Waka if you want until you reach level 8 or 9, and that will for sure be able to get you past the guard armor without any problems. However, because that is, I would consider that excessive grinding, we are not going to do that. Win the race against Riku, taking the most optimal route that suits you. The route shown here is the route that I prefer because for me it is the fastest. You will get a pretty stone, which will sell for about 150 money. Grab the protect chain. This will give Sora more defense. Having defense early, especially on proud mode, is very critical for being able to play the game safely without dying. After getting the Keyblade, fight every single shadow that spawns in the Destiny Islands area. This will be the most grinding you will do on this run. It will only take you about 10 minutes, so don't worry. Now, the reason why we pick the shield is because it gives you second chance, leaf bracer, lucky strike, all very early at or before level 36. This will make fighting against bosses long-term much easier, whereas the staff and the sword will give you lucky strike, leaf bracer, and second chance at either levels 48, 69, or 90. This will not help us long-term at all, as we will probably try to beat the game before we reach any of those levels. A good general rule of thumb that I have learned is whatever looks the least aesthetically pleasing is actually probably going to be the most useful item. Give up the sword instead of giving up the staff, because by giving up the staff, your AP count gets lowered down to 1. We don't want that because we want more abilities. As you saw in the Dark Side fight, it's the same as it is in the first fight. When going to Traverse Town, you don't need to fight too many Heartless, just fight that first wave. I fight these other Heartless here, but you don't really need to. Collect the money as you see fit, grab the postcard if you can reach it, if not, you can just wait until you get high jump, but it is possible as shown here in the footage. Jump over on top of the building where you can lead into what will eventually become the Moogle shop, and you can grab the postcard also without needing further abilities. Now this fight against Leon here is on proud mode. This is also at level 7. Something to keep in mind, based on how he's attacking, Leon will kill me in 3 hits. So in this fight I'm actually a little nervous. If you do not want as much of a challenge, you can always grind until you get to level 8. I believe that gives you a defense boost, so it should make this fight a little bit easier. As you can see, I beat him, but if he attacks you 2 times, you will need to use a potion, otherwise you will die. This fight is very critical because winning will give you a potion. Now, I'm level 8 here. I really want to be level 9 when I fight against the guard armor because I get a second ability, which is very important in boss fights. For my circumstantial playthrough, this will be the second most grinding in the game, after the first most grinding at Destiny Islands. Fight the soldiers and shadows as you see fit until reaching level 9. After you complete this specific grinding, you will not need to grind anywhere near this excessive for the rest of the game. By doing a little TLC early on, you're able to set yourself up for success very much so long term. A lot of people that struggle later in the game struggle because they grabbed the sword or because they didn't do the correct grinding. Grab the Mega Potion from Aerith after you have that cutscene with Leon and Yuffie, and the same cutscene with Donald, Goofy, and Aerith. After grinding, fight the guard armor. If you want to try to fight him while under level, that is fine. There will be several opportunities to make up easy levels later without having to worry too much. You might run into some problems at Deep Jungle, but you probably will be okay as long as you fight him at level 9. Get the Blue Trinity. In fact, there are 4 of them in Traverse Town. Right after fighting the guard armor, as well as locking every keyhole, Heartless will be inaccessible for the entirety of the time that you are there until you choose to leave the world. We will use that to our advantage to get items that would be otherwise annoying to grab when Heartless spawn. Grab the Trinity as shown previously. There are 4 of them. You can, if you want, go to the Red Room as I'm doing and go to the back alley to grab all the other items. None of them are really that noteworthy, I just do so to save a headache later. There's just a few potions and whatnot. After going to the Gizmo shop, climb up the ladder and go across. You can grab a postcard from the right side. Jump down, open up the first district connection, grab the Blue Trinity, and cast fire, and go into Merlin's house earlier than what most players usually do. This unlocks another Blue Trinity, which you can then grab, and then you can leave the world. Fly as normal to Wonderland. Notable items here are few, but one of them includes a dark matter. After getting all 4 pieces of evidence to prove Alex's innocence, you will find an easy hack is whichever item touched the ground first is the Heartless. As you can see, I find the Heartless immediately. If you screw up, you can just attack the cages that Donald and Goofy are trapped in, and that frees them. In a rare departure from its otherwise linear gameplay, the tower fight allows you to attack the Queen of Hearts. This will cause her to stop yelling for a moment, stun all the red cards, and make the entire fight a little easier. We're going to take about 2 detours from the story. First one is going in here, grabbing the Blue Trinity, and going out into the Queen's Castle. This will unlock a Meteor Gummy, a Thundara Gummy, as well as 3 Dalmatians. 3 Dalmatians are through this route, and the other route is unlocked by turning on this faucet right here, filling up that vase, and going through it. This will take you to the other side of the Queen's Castle, which will unlock a Meteor Gummy. Jump through the door to the other side of the Bazaar Room and knock over the teddy bear so that the teddy bear may fall down to the chair. Inside the Queen's Castle, you can get the Meteor Gummy. Back to the main Bazaar Room, after picking up the book for the Mithril Shard, lift up the teddy bear, and then move the clock, the grandfather clock, over, opening a path to the Tea Party Garden. Shrink down and grab the treasure chest. That should give you the dark matter. Continuing the story as normal, the Thundara Gummy awaits. Afterwards, defeat the Trickmaster. At this point, you should be at around level 12. If you are at a higher level, then great. If you are at a lower level, I would consider grinding just a little bit, or perhaps changing worlds. Back to the gummy ship menu, we're going to install the Thundara gummy as well as the Meteor gummy. If you happen to have any Dispel gummies, replace any Dispel gummies as possible with the Protect gummies that are already there. This will give you more armor as needed. As you can see, just this early into the game, on our second flight, we already have 3 different cannons, 1 laser, and a scan gummy, which came from a treasure chest in Wonderland. Fly backwards rather than forwards because going to Deep Jungle automatically locks you in to the world by flying there. Go to Traverse Town and then fly to Olympus Coliseum. Disembark at Olympus Coliseum and do everything that is possible to get there, including getting the 2 Blue Trinities, and participate in the games, but do not fight Cerberus. You can if you want to, but if you're playing it on Proud Mode like I am, it is not a good idea. Defeat Cloud, and after Cerberus becomes available, leave the world and then fly to Deep Jungle. When playing any Kingdom Hearts game on the hardest possible mode, you always want to consider prioritizing defense, not only because the best defense is a good offense, but also because you want to maximize the number of hits that you can take before dying. Without extra defense, 1 or 2 hits is generally enough to kill you early on. At Deep Jungle, right after fighting Sabor, jump around onto the platform up into the higher level, climb up the ladder, and grab that treasure chest containing the Protect chain. Jump off and attack several times to manipulate your falling capacity so that you might land into the floating boat. Grab the Mithril. Every time Sabor comes as an optional fight, try to fight him because he's an easy 15 experience points. Grab the Blue Trinity containing the Dalmatians, and rather than go through the vines this time, we're going to cross over, jump, and then attack, as shown here, to safely get across and then open the treasure chest containing 3 more Dalmatians. In Vines 2, you can get 3 more, even more Dalmatians yet. Climb up into the climbing trees, and there is another Blue Trinity up there that you can also obtain, containing the last 3 Dalmatians in this world. Now, before fighting Clayton, unequip Tarzan's 2 special abilities and equip Critical Plus. This will enable him to only use Arrow or Cure whenever you are fighting, making the fight a lot easier than normal. Fighting with Donald in that fight is a little pointless because he can't heal you yet. You should have been able to obtain another Thundara gummy from helping the gorillas. Equip it, as well as whatever other gummies you obtained from it. I believe you should have received a Fire gummy, which you can equip if you want. I elect here not to because it doesn't really improve my speed that much, and that problem will be resolved very soon anyway. Replace any and all Dispel gummies with its counterpart as you possibly can. I replaced the Dispel gummies that are cylinders, as well as some of the blocks. I also choose to add an extra layer of Dispel cylindrical gummies, just to give it a little bit more armor. Fly back to Olympus Coliseum in your new and improved gummy ship. If you happen to have a guard for this fight, it's way easier. I elect not to equip it, but you probably should so that you can deflect the fireballs. Either way, this fight isn't nearly as bad after you defeat Clayton. Update your gummy ship one more time. You should have enough to get by pretty well now. Grab the 2 postcards from the Gizmo shop, as well as the postcard from the ceiling fan in the item shop, which will give you postcards number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Get the 2 red trinities that are accessible at this time, one to the waterway and one to the alleyway. Go to the Dalmatians and collect the Curaga and the Fireaga gummies. This will give you more health as well as more speed on your gummy ship. Go into the Magician's Study, deliver the book, and go back to Sid, buy is, if you want, you can buy a few Thunder Gummies. I elect not to. But buy the Calm Level 2, update your gummy ship, and you should be able to go much faster now. Fly into the Warp Hole and land in Agrabah. Do not fight the opposite armor in Traverse Town, as it is not required until just before going to Hollow Bastion. You can fight it if you want, but in my opinion, it is not smart. Now, I consider Kingdom Hearts to have 3 parts. The first part is before Agrabah, the second part is after Agrabah but before the rescue, implying the fight with Riku and Hollow Bastion before saving Kairi. And then part 3 is after the rescue. These parts are the milestones and need to be addressed individually. So, like and follow, and I will see you again in part 2.